A Midsummer Night's Dream is a comedy play by William Shakespeare, believed to have been written between 1590 and 1597. It portrays the events surrounding the marriage of the Duke of Athens, Theseus, and Hippolyta. These include the adventures of 4 young Athenian lovers and a group of 6 amateur actors, who are controlled and manipulated by the fairies who inhabit the forest in which most of the play is set. The play is one of Shakespeare's most popular works for the stage and is widely performed across the world. Characters: the Athenians Theseus, Duke of Athens; Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, betrothed to Theseus; Philostrate, Master of the Revels; Aegeus, father of Hermia, wants her to marry Demetrius; Hermia, daughter of Aegeus, in love with Lysander; Helena, in love with Demetrius; Lysander, in love with Hermia at first but later loves Helena and then goes back to love Hermia; Demetrius, in love with Hermia at first and then loves Helena at the end. Spirits 1 and 2. The fairies: Oberon, Titania's husband and king of the fairies; Titania, Oberon's wife and queen of the fairies; Robin, Goodfellow, Puck, servant to Oberon; Peaseblossom, fairy servant to Titania; Cobweb, fairy servant to Titania; Moth, fairy servant to Titania; Mustard Seed, fairy servant to Titania. The Mechanicals: Peter Quince, carpenter, leads the troupe and plays prologue; Nick Bottom, weaver, plays Pyramus; Francis Flute, bellows mender, plays Thisbe; Robin Starveling, tailor, plays Moonshine; Tom Snout, tinker, plays Wall; Snug, joiner, plays Lion. Plot: the play consists of 4 interconnecting plots, connected by a celebration of the wedding of Duke Theseus of Athens and the Amazon queen, Hippolyta, which is set simultaneously in the woodland and in the realm of fairyland, under the light of the moon. The play opens with Hermia, who is in love with Lysander, not wanting to submit to her father Aegeus' demand that she wed Demetrius, whom he has arranged for her to marry. Helena meanwhile pines unrequitedly for Demetrius. Enraged, Aegeus invokes an ancient Athenian law before Duke Theseus, whereby a daughter must marry the suitor chosen by her father, or else face death. Theseus offers her another choice: lifelong chastity while worshipping the goddess Artemis as a nun. Peter Quince and his fellow players plan to put on a play for the wedding of the Duke and the Queen, the most lamentable comedy and most cruel death of Pyramus and Thisbe. Quince reads the names of characters and bestows them to the players. Nick Bottom, who is playing the main role of Pyramus, is over-enthusiastic and wants to dominate others by suggesting himself for the characters of Thisbe, the lion, and Pyramus at the same time. He would also rather be a tyrant and recites some lines of Urkel's. Quince ends the meeting with "At the Duke's Oak we meet." In a parallel plotline, Oberon, king of the fairies, and Titania, his queen, have come to the forest outside Athens. Titania tells Oberon that she plans to stay there until she has attended Theseus and Hippolyta's wedding. Oberon and Titania are estranged because Titania refuses to give her Indian changeling to Oberon for use as his knight or henchman, since the child's mother was one of Titania's worshippers. Oberon seeks to punish Titania's disobedience. He calls upon Robin, Puck, Goodfellow, his shrewd and knavish sprite, to help him concoct a magical juice derived from a flower called love in idleness, which turns from white to purple when struck by Cupid's arrow. When the concoction is applied to the eyelids of a sleeping person, that person, upon waking, falls in love with the first living thing they perceive. He instructs Puck to retrieve the flower with the hope that he might make Titania fall in love with an animal of the forest and thereby shame her into giving up the little Indian boy. He says, "And ere I take this charm from off her sight, as I can take it with another herb, I'll make her render up her page to me." Hermia and Lysander have escaped to the same forest in hopes of eloping. Helena, desperate to reclaim Demetrius's love, tells Demetrius about the plan and he follows them in hopes of killing Lysander. Helena continually makes advances towards Demetrius, promising to love him more than Hermia. However, he rebuffs her with cruel insults against her. Observing this, Oberon orders Puck to spread some of the magical juice from the flower on the eyelids of the young Athenian man. Instead, Puck mistakes Lysander for Demetrius, not having actually seen either before, and administers the juice to the sleeping Lysander. Helena, coming across him, wakes him while attempting to determine whether he is dead or asleep. Upon this happening, Lysander immediately falls in love with Helena. Oberon sees Demetrius still following Hermia and is enraged. When Demetrius goes to sleep, Oberon sends Puck to get Helena while he charms Demetrius' eyes. Upon waking up, he sees Helena. Now, both men are in pursuit of Helena. However, she is convinced that her two suitors are mocking her, as neither loved her originally. Hermia is at a loss to see why her lover has abandoned her, and accuses Helena of stealing Lysander away from her. The four quarrel with each other until Lysander and Demetrius become so enraged that they seek a place to duel to prove whose love for Helena is the greater. Oberon orders Puck to keep Lysander and Demetrius from catching up with one another and to remove the charm from Lysander. Lysander returns to loving Hermia, while Demetrius continues to love Helena. Meanwhile, Quince and his band of 6 laborers have arranged to perform their play about Pyramus and Thisbe for Theseus' wedding and venture into the forest near Titania's bower for their rehearsal. Bottom is spotted by Puck, who transforms his head into that of a donkey. When Bottom returns for his next lines, the other workmen run screaming in terror, much to Bottom's confusion, since he no idea what has happened. Determined to await his friends, he begins to sing to himself. Titania, having received the love potion, is awakened by Bottom's singing and immediately falls in love with him. She lavishes him with attention and presumably makes love to him. While she is in this state of devotion, Oberon takes the changeling. Having achieved his goals, Oberon releases Titania, orders Puck to remove the donkey's head from Bottom, and arranges everything so Helena, Hermia, Demetrius and Lysander will all believe they have been dreaming when they awaken. Puck distracts Lysander and Demetrius from fighting over Helena's love by mimicking their voices and leading them apart. Eventually, all four find themselves separately falling asleep in the glade. Once they fall asleep, Puck administers the love potion to Lysander again, claiming all will be well in the morning. The fairies then disappear, and Theseus and Hippolyta arrive on the scene. During an early morning hunt, they wake the lovers and, since Demetrius no longer loves Hermia, Theseus overrules Aegeus's demands and arranges a group wedding. The lovers decide that the night's events must have been a dream. After they exit, Bottom awakes, and he too decides that he must have experienced a dream, past the wit of man. In Athens, Theseus, Hippolyta and the lovers watch the 6 workmen perform Pyramus and Thisbe. Given a lack of preparation, the performers are so terrible playing their roles to the point where the guests laugh as if it were meant to be a comedy, and everyone retires to bed. Afterwards, Oberon, Titania, Puck, and other fairies enter, and bless the house and its occupants with good fortune. After all the other characters leave, Puck restores amends, and suggests to the audience that what they just experienced might be nothing but a dream. Publication and text. The play was entered into the Register of the Stationers' Company on 8 October 1600 by the bookseller Thomas Fisher, who published the first quarto edition later that year. A second quarto was printed in 1619 by William Jaggard, as part of his so-called false folio. The play next appeared in print in the first folio of 1623. The title page of Q1 states that the play was sundry times publicly acted prior to 1600. The first performance known with certainty occurred at court on 1 January 1605.